Alright, mi gente, that's right. We're actually here today in Brooklyn, New York, Greenpoint Brooklyn to be exact. We're actually changing 2 hot water heaters like I was mentioning you guys before. As we speak, we have 2 Bradford Whites, 40-gallon low boys. So hey, job gotta get done. This fucking bitch Hurricane Ida, she was a real asshole and a jerk to a lot of these customers. So wow, we have to here help our customers, help our people, help all these New Yorkers to get back in their feet. So with that being said, let's get started. Come on down. I'm pretty sure everybody knows about New York City. If it's not the traffic, it's the parking. So right now, that's the logistics we gotta deal with right now. But either way, we'll make it happen. Doesn't matter. Oh, that's fast. I like that. This guy took a 4-day off vacation. They got a lot of energy. Hey! I got a fucking bush on his armpit. I like, yo, don't block the camera, don't block the camera. So this is a Bradford White 40-gallon low boy unit. Basically what a low boy means is it's shorter and fatter. The reason why we need a low boy in this particular job, as you guys are gonna see in the video, the height is an issue. So we wanna raise it off the floor a few inches. Why? Because they had the flood issue. So we had a lot of rain from this Hurricane Ida. So it was about maybe 18 inches, 24 inches of rain. So we're gonna raise it a few inches. This is not normal what happened that past weekend. You know, just to be a little reassurance, raise it off a few inches. So if a few inches of water does come into the basement, they won't have to go through these troubles again. All right, stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, what are we doing here? We're actually getting ready to pump out the water from the hot water heater. In this case, we're using a Milwaukee pump. It's a water pump, and this is the pump we use. And Milwaukee is our go-to tool to drain out the water heater. So I'm gonna show you in action what this little baby can do. The beauty about this particular pump is that it's battery operated. This particular battery is the same battery used for all our power tools. So there's no electric, it's battery, same battery to our power tools, like I said. It just makes life a lot easier. Turn it on. Woo, wait, be ready, baby. This is the inlet, this is the outlet. This is coming from the actual water heater, and this is discharge just going outside. Also, I will tell you guys to make sure that the gaskets are in the hose. Why? Because if you don't have any rubber gaskets, they're gonna, while you're pumping out the water, water's gonna leak. You don't want to work on top of water and make a mess, especially in the client's house. In this case, we're in the basement. Basement is the best basement, but we treat every basement, regardless if it's shitty or not, as if it's our own. So part of the job is being clean, being neat. Open it from here from the drain with a screwdriver. It's a flathead. And now we're gonna turn it on. Alright, here we go, we got water. Water's coming out the end of the hose. So the pump is doing its job, it's working. So now we gotta do one heater at a time. So as soon as we drain out heater number 1 and 2, then we're able to disconnect. But in the meantime, while it's pumping, we're able to disconnect the gas line, the gas piping, making sure that's disconnected. The exhaust pipe, make sure that's disconnected. And once that's all disconnected, the last thing would be the cold and hot water supply. So once it's drained out, we can cut the cold and hot water supply, then we're ready to work. Now it's just a waiting game, so stay tuned. This is where it's at, papa. Wepa. So the pump is pumping. I'm just watching it because it's getting some air. It's picking up some air bubbles. So what that means to me is that it's picking up some sort of air somewhere along the line. Once there's a straight flow of water, then we know we're good. But if it keeps doing that, then maybe the connection at the pump is bad or it's loose. There's a clog inside the drain. In this case, we gotta improvise. But we actually take a coat hanger. We just open it up, stick it inside there. All we wanna do is just pierce a small little hole. Once you pierce that little, whatever the plug is at, wherever the stoppage is at, then you get great flow of water. And then of course, you're not gonna make the pump strain any harder than what it is now. If it starts straining and keeps straining and straining, what's gonna happen? You're gonna burn out the pump. So we don't wanna burn out the pump, especially not in the middle of the job because that's the only pump we have. Then otherwise, we're fucked. Also, the reason why this one's taking a little longer is because this pump, when it's straining, pulls up a lot of energy from the battery. So remember, I don't know if you guys noticed on the last video, but we had the battery and the battery is actually fatter. So it's just a more powerful battery. So we have another spare battery, just a little bit smaller, and you can see the difference in performance. So guys out there, if you buy any power tools, definitely get the Milwaukee battery, upgrade to the double XL, whatever the highest model is, because for the money, it actually makes sense to get the extra power for a job just like this. So now I gotta wait a little longer. So now that's costing me money. The pump right now is pumping out all the water from the water heater existing right now, as you guys can hear. So we're doing two jobs, removing and that's draining at the same time. So gotta work faster, efficient.
It's okay. That's how you be a plumber. That's how you be a plumber.
That's what it is to muscle it up. We got the big guns here. This is the part of the job I don't like, but somebody gotta do it.
Louis, why is the boiler on the floor?
Well guys, the reason for that is that we could try to drain only as much as possible. Sometimes there's always sediment and water inside the tank. So what happens is there's always gonna be a little bit of residual water inside the tank that the pump can't physically pump out. So what do we do in a case like this? We gotta muscle that shit out. You know, it just makes it heavier because right now, remember we have this tow hitch. We put in the hot water heater back, the old ones. So we want to make it not only for our reason, but for that reason as well. So you know, we want to take out most of the weight, which is the sediment and the water that's still inside the tank. All right, guys, we just finished draining out both the gas hot water heaters. We just finished draining both of them. Now we're getting ready to haul out the second one. The first one's already out. Second one's about to be out in a couple of minutes. We gotta bring obviously the two new ones in, start installing them. So once we got both of them in place, then we get ready to rock and roll and get this job and this party up and popping. We're picking up the cinder blocks. So we got the small shallow ones. We got the bigger cinder blocks. So I brought both of them so I can have an idea or a gauge more or less where I want the hot water heater to be positioned. You clearly can see the difference between this and this. So I don't want to be too high, nor I want to be too low. You know, so we need an actual pitch upwards or incline pitch towards the chimney in order to get proper exhaust, because if you don't have proper exhaust, you're gonna have carbon monoxide inside of the basement, and that clearly is a no-no. As you can see, Louis manhandles this. So you guys can see we put in the cinder blocks. They're both cinder blocks. The only difference really just matter just the height. We're putting here the cinder block so I can take the actual measurement. The hot water heater, the new hot water heater is about 51.5 inches high, not including the mushroom. I want to measure from the cinder block to my water supply to give me a more or less an idea of where I'm at, because I may have to cut this a little shorter and bring the tank a little higher, and this shorter. I have some headroom, but I don't want to cut myself short because it's actually very limited. You know, it's pretty tight. So remember what I told you guys? We want to make sure we have an incline, a pitch going to the chimney. Otherwise, you're gonna have carbon monoxide backing into the basement. So that's why we clearly have to pay attention to these measurements. It's very important. This is the hot baby going in. So right now, we're actually cutting the bottom. That means that's the bottom of the tank. You see how macho this is? All right, how many inches?
4 pies.
So actually I was wrong. So it's actually 51.5 inches with the mushroom, and it's, what you say, 41.5? 40 inches, 4 feet. So even Louis the Boarderman can make a mistake. So, but I was close. All right, let's start hauling this bitch down upstairs. I want to go home, baby.
So does this mean that the size is...
That means sizes do matter. That's what that means. Size matter, guys. We were just messing around, but he was telling me, oh, how you gonna grab the top? I was like, well, in order for me to grab these two nipples, as soon as we take off those two copper nipples on the old hot water heater, then I can grab those two female adapters and put in and connect it to two 3/4 inch nipples. As you guys can see, I'm grabbing the two nipples. So what does the two nipples mean? Cold and hot. As you guys can see, I got these two copper female adapters. We're gonna place them on the two copper discharge, which is the cold and hot for the gas hot water heater. Nipples. All right, the reason why we have these two nipples on, as you guys can see, you grab the nipple just like this, and then you're gonna pull down like this. You're gonna grab like this. Now what do we have? A handle. So I got my technician here, the guy with the big guns. There you go, you see him? The big guns, he got bigger guns than me. But I got the nipples. Careful. Oh man, I'm telling you, it's fucking hot as fuck. It's humid. Ugh. But anyway, and we figured that the bigger block is the best block for the job because we measure 51.5 inches high, because that's where the top of the mushroom is at. And based on where we measure it, this actually might be just a quick drop into our fitting, so we don't have to do anything. So actually we pretty much cut it to where more or less we want it to be at. So once we cut this out, we'll adjust it. There's not much cutting to do. This one we have to do a little adjustment here, or maybe cut some piece of the pipe here and redo the nipple, which is one bigger piece. So we'll figure it out once it's in. And that's what it takes, guys. Suave, suave, que rico. Suave, suave, que rico. Suave, suave, que rico. You wanna be buff like me? This is what you do. All right, we're making some space right now for both hot water heaters. We're gonna do the second one first, which is the one on the right. Now that we built this nice piece of art out of cinder blocks, we're gonna place the hot water heater on the triangle. Watch the top. Yeah, we'll have to take this off. Gotta take off these nipples. Did I say nipples? All right, we want to leave some room here so you can put the actual female adapters here. Tie it in, and we'll tie it in. Listen, it's almost like a perfect cut, so I'll be thankful for that. That's for sure. All right, guys, we got something called pipe dope. Tony's gonna take some of this pipe dope, put them on the threads, and once we have some pipe on those threads, then what we have, or what I like to call, is called reassurance. If for whatever reason the actual Teflon tape gives, well then guess what? I got some pipe dope in there. You know, so for some lubricant. All right, guys, that's right. We're actually tightening up that female adapter, which is 3/4 female by 3/4 cold press, and we're putting on top of the tank on that steel nipple. He's turning the nipple. Oh, he's turning up that nipple pretty hard. Most of these names have to do something with something sexual or something with a sexual body part. So when somebody asks me, this guy's talking about nipples, like, puppy, that's what it's called. It's called a fucking nipple. I don't make this shit up. Google it. You're gonna see, you know? So we're talking about plumbing here, so nipple. We're talking about a pipe. We're not talking about anything else. All right, guys, we're almost hit a home run on this one. We'll have to do some adjustments a little bit more because it's a little short. On this one, we just gotta clean it up. And then it's pretty much an exact plug and play. The thing is that I don't like about sometimes when I see pipe like this, because when guys solder, they leave what we call snots or solder snots. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that terminology, or somewhere, you know, just trails of just solder. It just looks, it holds the seal, so the seal is not the issue. It just looks ugly. It leaves like a little bit of a bump, so it doesn't go all the way through. So this nipple or this piece of copper pipe has to go all the way to this point right over here, which is pretty much, that's flush. So once the copper pipe meets this point, then we're able to use a tool called a Pro Press. We'll press, and once we press, it makes an actual a seal based on compression. And with an O-ring inside here, it's sealed. That's why you see a little bump here. And once we press the fitting, then we're good to go, and that's the end of that. We don't have to solder, because the problem with soldering, to me too, is that sometimes, you know, it just leaves that little green shit here. This I like to have like a nice clean finish. So when we finish and we're done, I'll show you what it looks like after, and then you can tell the difference. So you tell me what you think, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. We should make a nice clean cut or clean joint, or just leave a fucking trail of snot and mierda. That's not how we work. It's the man, the heavy hitter right here. It's Tony. You ever heard that song? Tony Montana, Tony Montana. For the ladies out there, this is Tony Montana.
Yeah, let's go.
Guy, listen, this guy's the big dog. This is the next generation, the new plumbers, whatever you want to call it. We call him a Range Rover. He's gonna be the next in line after me, and you know, hopefully for many more years too, just like the way I did it. So he's learning, he's only gonna get better, and he's a good dude, and he's a great asset to the company. But yeah, it's a good job. It looks good.